Tourism in Las Vegas is in a big slump this summer, costing the city billions of dollars. Some are saying that could signal trouble ahead for the U.S. economy.
The U.S. is also the top travel destination for Canadians, with 20.4 million visits in 2024 for work or vacation. And some may be offloading their vacation homes.
Many businesses are bracing for what could be a sluggish summer. Visitors are even being told by their home countries to take their vacations and money elsewhere.
I love going to the U.S. I spend a lot of time there.
But now you're curtailing that.
Yeah, no.
All in direct response to what President Trump is up to.
Basically,
yes.
yeah. Yes.
Stunning images of near-empty passenger planes are popping up on social media. These international flights have many tourists flying to the USA practically alone.
2025 is proving to be a pivotal year for the United States, but not for reasons many might expect. Millions of tourists are canceling their trips to the US, and this is no small issue. It's more than just a dip in travel numbers. The implications are far-reaching. For the first time in decades, international tourism to the US has dropped by 7%, and that's just the beginning. Why is this happening? What's driving tourists away from what was once the world's top destination? The answers are complex, but they all stem from a series of policies, social changes, and global perceptions that have shifted dramatically over the last few years. And here's the twist. It's not just about tourists. More and more U.S. citizens are searching for a new home abroad. In fact, an increasing number of Americans are considering leaving the country. Why are they choosing to leave, and what does this mean for the country's future? International tourism losses are set to cost the U.S. nearly $29 billion this year, with major cities like New York and Miami already feeling the pinch. But that's not the only problem. There's a rising trend of Americans seeking to emigrate to countries offering lower costs, better health care, and less political division. So what's behind these sweeping changes? In today's video, we'll break down the reasons why millions of tourists are canceling U.S. trips in 2025 and why more Americans are searching for a new home outside the U.S. Stay tuned, because we're about to dive into the causes, the consequences, and what all of this means for the future of the United States. You won't want to miss this. Part 1, the decline of U.S. tourism in 2025. In 2025, the United States is facing a major tourism crisis. International tourism has dropped by 7%, and that's a significant decline in such a critical industry. Why is this happening? One of the primary reasons is the impact of Trump-era policies. The U.S. has seen stricter immigration laws, higher tariffs, and more travel bans, especially affecting visitors from specific countries. For example, Canada, which has always been a major source of visitors to the U.S., has seen its tourism to the U.S. drop by 25%. This isn't just an isolated incident. In fact, other countries around the world are also seeing their citizens choose other destinations over the United States due to these policies. The combination of tariffs and travel restrictions has made it harder for international travelers to visit, discouraging potential tourists. But it's not just about trade policies. The LGBTQ+ community has also been deeply impacted by new laws under the current administration. Countries, particularly in Europe, have seen a rise in tourists opting out of trips to the U.S., citing concerns over the safety and treatment of the LGBTQ+ community. The World Pride Festival, for instance, was scheduled to be held in Washington, D.C., but many tourists canceled their plans after hearing about the administration's stance on LGBTQ's rights. There's also a growing sense of political instability in the U.S. The deep divisions within the country are a major turnoff for tourists. With the political environment being so unpredictable, visitors from around the world are hesitant to travel to a country where there's increasing uncertainty. All of these factors, economic policies, human rights concerns, and political instability, are contributing to a dramatic shift in global travel patterns. The U.S. is no longer the go-to destination for international travelers. Instead, countries with more stable policies and a welcoming environment are rising in popularity. As we continue to see this decline in tourism, we'll also explore the economic impact and what this means for both the U.S. economy and for the local businesses that rely heavily on international visitors. Stay tuned as we dive deeper into these issues. Part 2, economic impact of the tourism decline. The decline in tourism is not just a numbers game. It's a serious economic issue for the United States. Tourism is a major contributor to the U.S. economy, generating over $1.6 trillion annually. It's also directly responsible for providing nearly 15 million jobs across the country in sectors like hospitality, transportation, entertainment, and food services. But with international tourists staying away in record numbers, these economic contributions are now at risk. In 2025, it's projected that the U.S. will lose nearly $29 billion due to this decline in tourism, which is a devastating blow to the economy. Cities that rely heavily on tourism are feeling the effects first. Places like New York, Los Angeles, and Miami, which have historically attracted millions of international visitors, are already seeing significant declines in revenue. For example, in New York City, the loss of international tourists has caused a $4 billion revenue gap, with businesses that rely on visitors, like hotels, restaurants, and tourist attractions, struggling to stay afloat. Even further out, cities like Las Vegas and Orlando, which depend on tourism for 40% of their economy, are bracing for more difficult months ahead. But the impact doesn't stop at the big cities. Smaller towns and rural areas that have fewer industries and depend more on seasonal tourism are also facing a serious economic downturn. For instance, towns near national parks, which rely on international travelers for summer and fall tourism, are seeing local businesses cut hours or close altogether. The hospitality industry is particularly hard hit. With a drop in visitors, many hotels have been forced to lay off workers or close down entirely. Smaller boutique hotels and local bed and breakfasts, which usually attract international tourists, are struggling to stay open without the revenue they depend on. And it's not just the travel and hospitality sectors feeling the effects. Other industries like retail, transportation, and entertainment are all intertwined with tourism. When tourists stay away, local shops that sell souvenirs, cultural tours, and even airport vendors lose their main customers. Airlines are also seeing fewer international flights, which means they're cutting routes, impacting jobs in both aviation and related service industries. This in turn puts pressure on state and local governments as their tourism taxes, the taxes levied on tourists for things like hotel stays and entertainment, have dried up. Cities are now struggling to balance their budgets, and governments may be forced to raise taxes on residents or cut local services. Even with this massive financial loss, the U.S. is facing the possibility of a prolonged downturn in the tourism sector. The decline in visitors is expected to continue for the next few years, especially as global travelers turn to countries that are offering better experiences, lower costs, and more stable environments. In fact, destinations like Mexico, Canada, and various countries in Europe have seen an increase in international visitors, while the U.S. struggles to regain its footing. What's more concerning is the cultural impact of losing international tourists. The U.S. has long prided itself on being a global hub for culture, art, and entertainment. But with fewer foreign visitors, we risk losing much of that global cultural exchange. It's not just about money, it's about America's place in the world as a cultural and economic leader. In the coming years, the U.S. may need to reevaluate its tourism policies and global engagement strategies to restore its status as the go-to destination for travelers. But can it bounce back from this decline? That remains to be seen. Let's now turn to the human side of this issue, how the shift in tourism is affecting the American people and why so many are now considering leaving the U.S. in search of better opportunities. Part 3, Why Americans Are Seeking a New Home. As the U.S. faces a significant decline in tourism, another troubling trend is emerging. More and more Americans are considering leaving the country. In 2025, it's estimated that 42% of Americans have considered relocating abroad due to various challenges they're facing at home. Why are so many Americans looking for a new place to live? The reasons are multifaceted and interconnected, ranging from economic struggles to political instability and beyond. One of the most immediate reasons is economic hardship. The cost of living in the U.S. has skyrocketed in recent years. Housing prices, particularly in major cities, have become unaffordable for many. According to a recent report, housing costs in cities like San Francisco, New York, and Los Angeles have increased by more than 50% in the past decade. Along with this, healthcare costs have become a major burden for families. The U.S., has some of the highest healthcare costs in the world, and for many middle-class Americans, this is a constant financial strain. In countries like Canada and Mexico, healthcare is more affordable, and housing costs are significantly lower. This has led many Americans to explore the option of emigrating in search of better financial stability and a higher quality of life. But economic hardship isn't the only factor driving people out of the U.S. The political polarization in the U.S. has reached unprecedented levels in recent years, and this division has left many Americans feeling disillusioned with the state of their country. From debates over health care and immigration to the growing tensions between political parties, more and more Americans are seeking a place where they can feel politically aligned with the country they're living in. Countries like Portugal and Canada are particularly attractive to those looking for more progressive policies and stable political environments. Americans who feel alienated by the current political climate are flocking to these nations, where policies around social justice, healthcare, and climate change are more in line with their values. Another reason for the growing trend of American immigration is climate change. Certain regions of the U.S. are already facing the harsh effects of climate change, including rising sea levels, more frequent wildfires, and extreme weather events. Coastal cities like Miami, New Orleans, and Houston are particularly vulnerable. In fact, many Americans living in these areas are already considering relocation to countries with more stable climates. Countries like Canada and New Zealand offer safer and more sustainable living conditions. For example, Canada's government has rolled out programs to attract climate refugees, people fleeing areas where climate change is directly threatening their livelihoods. Meanwhile, Mexico has become an increasingly popular destination for American retirees, especially those seeking affordable living and a more relaxed lifestyle. Retiring in Mexico offers not only lower living costs, but also proximity to the U.S., making it an appealing choice for many Americans looking for a new chapter in their lives. But perhaps the most telling reason why Americans are seeking to leave the U.S. is the search for a better quality of life. Despite being one of the wealthiest countries in the world, many Americans feel that the U.S. no longer offers the opportunities and lifestyle they desire. Whether it's dissatisfaction with the healthcare system, the high cost of living, or the political turmoil, Americans are increasingly seeking alternatives abroad where they believe they can live more comfortably and peacefully. Countries like Portugal, Spain, and Costa Rica have become known for their excellent healthcare systems, affordable housing, and welcoming communities. These countries also offer residency programs for U.S. citizens, making it easier for them to move abroad and start fresh. Additionally, remote work has made it easier than ever for many Americans to live abroad. The rise of digital nomad visas in countries like Estonia and Portugal is providing opportunities for Americans to live and work in more affordable and peaceful environments without sacrificing their careers. For many, these factors are compelling enough to consider leaving the U.S. behind in search of a better life. As more and more Americans look outside the country, it's clear that the U.S. is facing a growing exodus. Whether driven by economic, political, or environmental factors, people are seeking safer, more affordable, and more stable places to live. In the next section, we'll look at the global landscape and explore where Americans are going and why these countries are becoming increasingly attractive to U.S. expats. Part 4, Global Comparisons and the Future of U.S. Immigration. As Americans continue to seek new homes abroad, we need to take a closer look at where they're going and why these destinations are becoming increasingly popular. The U.S. isn't the only country experiencing shifts in immigration patterns. Other countries are also seeing an influx of American expats looking for better opportunities and a higher quality of life. One of the top destinations for American expats is Canada. It's no surprise given the close geographical proximity, shared cultural ties, and high quality of life. Canada has long been a preferred destination for those seeking affordable health care, better work-life balance, and a more stable political environment. In fact, Canada's immigration policies have been among the most progressive in the world. The country has rolled out various immigration programs to attract skilled workers, entrepreneurs, and even those looking to escape the rising political tensions in the U.S. The Express Entry program allows skilled professionals to obtain permanent residency, and the Provincial Nominee program offers specific pathways for those with job offers or ties to certain regions of Canada. These programs have helped Canada attract tens of thousands of Americans in recent years, especially those looking for a more peaceful and inclusive society. But it's not just Canada. Mexico has also become a popular destination for Americans, particularly retirees. Mexico offers a lower cost of living and proximity to the U.S., making it an attractive choice for those looking to enjoy a comfortable lifestyle without the high expenses associated with living in American cities. Moreover, Mexico's retirement visa program allows U.S. citizens to live there with fewer restrictions, offering a straightforward path to residency for those looking to retire or work remotely. Cities like Mexico City, San Miguel de Allende, and Puerto Vallarta are becoming increasingly popular among American expats due to their vibrant culture, beautiful landscapes, and welcoming communities. Then there's Portugal, which has become a hotspot for Americans seeking a more affordable and fulfilling lifestyle. Portugal has quickly established itself as a haven for digital nomads, retirees, and those looking to escape the pressures of living in the U.S. The Golden Visa program in Portugal allows U.S. citizens to obtain residency by investing in the country's real estate market, and the D7 visa offers residency to those with passive income. Portugal also ranks high for its healthcare system, affordable housing, and safety, all factors that make it an appealing destination for those looking to leave behind the high costs and social divisions in the U.S. In addition to these countries, Spain, Costa Rica, and New Zealand are also attracting more Americans. These countries offer tax incentives, affordable living, and stable political environments, making them ideal places for those seeking a fresh start. While these countries are becoming increasingly attractive to American expats, the U.S. immigration system remains rigid. Unlike countries like Canada and Portugal, where immigration policies are designed to attract skilled workers and retirees, the U.S. has tightened its immigration rules in recent years. This has led to a brain drain, where skilled professionals and educated individuals are leaving the U.S. for better opportunities abroad. The H-1B visa program, which once allowed high-skilled workers to come to the U.S., has become increasingly difficult to navigate, and the long wait times for permanent residency are pushing many to consider moving elsewhere. Additionally, the political climate and uncertain future under the current administration are further contributing to the decision of many Americans to seek stability in other nations. The future of U.S. immigration is uncertain, with many wondering if the country will be able to reverse these trends and attract the talent and workforce it needs to remain competitive on the global stage. As countries like Canada, Portugal, and Mexico continue to attract American talent, the U.S. may need to reconsider its immigration policies to ensure that it remains a destination for those seeking opportunity, stability, and a better life. In the coming years, it will be crucial for the U.S. to strike a balance between keeping its borders open for skilled workers and creating an environment where both citizens and immigrants feel welcomed and secure. But will the U.S. change course in time? Only time will tell. In the next section, we'll dive into the long-term consequences of this shift in both tourism and immigration, and what it means for the future of the American economy and global standing. As we wrap up today's video, the question remains: what does the future hold for the United States? The trends we've explored today, declining international tourism and increasing numbers of Americans seeking new homes abroad, signal a dramatic shift in the country's global standing. If these trends continue, the U.S. could face a reduced role in the world economy and a loss of cultural influence. The tourism sector, which has been a cornerstone of the American economy, is struggling with billions of dollars in lost revenue. Cities that once thrived on international visitors are now fighting to stay afloat. Meanwhile, the growing trend of American immigration raises questions about the nation's ability to keep its most talented citizens and attract new ones. Countries like Canada, Portugal, and Mexico are successfully drawing in American expats with more progressive policies, lower costs of living, and stable political environments. At the heart of this crisis is a lack of policy adaptability. The U.S. needs to rethink its approach to tourism, immigration, and foreign relations if it wants to maintain its position as a global leader. The question is, can the U.S. recover? It's possible, but it will require fundamental changes in how the country engages with the rest of the world. Whether it's through reforming immigration policies, rebuilding the tourism sector, or offering better quality of life for its citizens, the U.S. must act quickly. In a world that is increasingly interconnected, the U.S. cannot afford to remain isolated. The global landscape is changing, and the U.S. must evolve with it if it hopes to stay relevant. In the coming years, how America handles these challenges will determine whether it can remain a leader in the global economy or if it will fall behind as more nations rise to prominence. So what do you think? Will the U.S. be able to regain its footing, or are we witnessing the beginning of a new era? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more in-depth analysis on this topic and many others.